All David did was establish a land for it. That's all he did. He went in, he took the city, and he established that city as that land. And that land shall be known as the city of the kingdom. Now we go to okay. In fact, we're gonna continue to continue to read. We're gonna continue to read about David. We're gonna get into Samuel 2:7. 2 Samuel 7. I don't know why I messed it up, guys. It's kind of cold out here, and kind of messing with my head. But Samuel 2:7 talks about basically David's already established a kingdom. David. Okay, first of all, there's this conception or this idea that David was a prophet. No, David was not a prophet. David was never a prophet. Nowhere in the scriptures does it say that David was a prophet. David had a prophet with him. David already had a man who was the spirit of Yah, guiding him, consulting him. He had Nathan, and David was a man of war. David was a man after Yah's own heart. For Yah is a man of war, and David was never a prophet. So we need to get that idea. We need to get that concept out of our heads and acknowledge who David really is. And we're going to go to Samuel. We're going to learn more about David. It relates to the what is known as the Star of David. And we're going to read verse 7, chapter 4. What I just talked about was verse 7, chapter 3. First chapter 7, verse 3. And what we're going to talk about is chapter 7, verse 4. And it came to pass that night that the word of YAH'WEH came unto Nathan, saying, Go, and tell my servant David, thus said YAH'WEH, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in? Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since that time I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day. But I have walked in a tent and a tabernacle. In all the places wherein I have walked with the children of Israel, spoke I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, Why build ye not me a house of cedar? Now, this is where the kingdom comes about. This is the first establishment of the kingdom. Now, as we all know, David was instructed to build a house. What is now known as the house of Yahweh, or the temple of Solomon. And David was instructed to build his house. She was instructed to build the temple. And David never did it. David never did it for the simple fact that the house of Yahweh was supposed to be a holy house. It was supposed to be for holy people. It was supposed to be for... Basically, the house was supposed to be holy. And it was supposed to remain undefiled and unprofaned. And David, being a servant of YAH'WEH, was busy establishing the land. He was busy being a man of war. He was busy doing what his forefathers never do when they came out of the land of Egypt. When Yahweh commanded the children of Israel to destroy the Canaanites from the land, to destroy all the peoples and all the nations from the land of Canaan. The children of Israel never did it. Yahweh even appointed the king, Saul, and told Saul to do it. Saul didn't do it, so David had to do it. So Yahweh chose David because he knew by David's heart that David would be obedient to YAH'WEH. And David's hands were filled with blood, so David couldn't build his house. But David instructed his son. Basically, David built a blueprint for his son, for the people that will remain in his kingdom, on how to build that house. So we're going to get into that in chapter 7. I was in verse 7. We're going to read verse 8. Now therefore shalt thou say to my servant David, thus said YAH'WEH, I take thee from a sheepcote, for following the sheep, to be a ruler over my people Israel. And I was with thee, whithersoever thou went, and have cut off thine enemy out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time. This is the prophecy that has yet to be fulfilled. This has not been fulfilled yet. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, verse 11, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. And also YAH'WEH telleth thee that he will make thee an house. And when thy days be fulfilled, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. And I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. And I will set up seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. And I will establish his kingdom. And he shall build a house for my name. And I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. And I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. And I will be his father, and he will be my son. And if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. Now, the only reason I read this is prophetic. We're now getting into the start. And the symbol of the star and what the star means. And as we could tell, David's kingdom, David was never instructed to build a star. David was instructed to build a temple, a house. So, how is it that it's called the Star of David? David was never instructed to build a star. As we already read, the star was already instructed by Moses. The building of the star was already instructed to be with a Levitical priesthood, with the Levite. So how can it be a Star of David? That doesn't make any sense. The star is well known in Israel with a Levitical priest, with a Levite. David is not from the tribe of Levi. Okay, now we clear that up, and we're gonna. Oh, okay. You know what? In fact, let me continue reading, and I'm gonna go. I'm going to reread chapters 7, verse 12 and 13 for clarification, because that is the prophecy that has a lot to do with the Star of Israel. But let's go to verse. Let's go to verse 22. In fact, let's go to verse 21. No, in fact, let's go to verse 20. We have to read the scripture in its entirety. And as you know earlier, I don't advocate people taking one verse or two verses out of a book and, you know, philosophizing about what that verse means when, you know, the answer is in the book. So we're going to, I'm in verse 20, chapter 7, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 20. And what can David say more to thee? For thou, YAH'WEH, Elohim, knows thy servant. You know me. You chose me. You know my heart. I may do all these things. I may do all these abominations. I may have all these wives. I may kill all these men, but you know me because you showed me. You know my spirit. Verse 22. For thy word's sake, and according to thy own heart, hast thou done all these